Good evening, everybody. This is day 7 of the 12 days of Christmas. So if you've been joining me every night for the last week, because we started last Friday on Boxing Day, the 26th of December, and this is evening number 7. So we're well on the way now to having our block keeper made, and then all the blocks, the 9 blocks to fit inside. And then from there you can take it to whatever level you want to. I know that Di is making a cushion from hers. She's making the smaller squares because she's got the card deck, so it's useful to have. I have to say it's a fantastic fantastic tool to have, I must admit, and very, very useful, very useful. Hi Sharon, welcome. Right, just get my screen set up. Thank you, Nicola. So yes, so evening 7 of the 12 days of Christmas. The video from yesterday is on YouTube. I did that straight away last night. And although the sequence of numbers is out of sync, my own fault. But so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5. But it doesn't matter, they're all there. So tonight's obviously will be put on YouTube tomorrow. I won't stay behind late and do it tonight. All right, let me just get rid of my keyboard. That was still on my desk. Let's get rid of that. Good. Let's have a look and see who's joined us early tonight. Let's have a look. So we've got. I've already seen Sharon. Let me move my comments along there. Not that you can see that, but it's, I like to share. Hi Judy and Anne and Sue and Patricia, the twins, Bridget and Rachel, Marion, Nick, thank you Nicola, Maxine, Susan, Shirley. Susan, are you going to the quilt show in February? At Rowley Mar? Let me know and I'll meet you there for coffee. Hi Shirley, hi Denise, hi Jeanette, Cheryl, Michelle, Tina. Oh, Tina says she's just caught up with yesterday's live, so 2 hours of Lizzy today. You poor thing. What a start to a new year. Oh, happy new year, by the way. we kind of when you're busy and you're doing this and you're doing that, you kind of forget, don't you, that it is actually a really special day, isn't it? The first day of the new year. Wow. Yes. Who was it that said tonight that I was watching something somewhere and they said, oh gosh, how the years go so quickly, and they do, and I think, how can we slow them down? And you think, well, you can't really, because we're busy people. We fit things in, we go places, we go to groups, we go on holidays, we look forward to things. I suppose a lot of it is because we sometimes plan ahead, don't we? We plan ahead, so that kind of makes our year feel shorter, I suppose, because we're planning for the next holiday or the next big event, a wedding, something like that. And I remember last year we were in the motorhome up at in Cumbria, near Derwent, and we couldn't get on the site that we normally get onto because it was completely fully booked. So we were on the site next door, which was all right, but not the same. So while we were there, we walked next door and booked up for this year, just for 3 or 4 nights. So yeah, it was important to me that we got on the proper site. Yes, they're both lovely, but one's a bit more rowdy than the others. I don't like a bit of rowdiness. Right, let's just go back to where we were. So obviously I can't say hello to everybody because there's lots of people watching already. Goodness gracious me. So there's Maggie, there's Allegra, there's Jilly, Diane, Di, I should say. I can never get that. It's like Catherine and Kath, isn't it? It's trying to remember the abbreviations. Helen and Judith and Sue, and Betty and Sophie and Lynn and Karita. Ali says, finally able to join you all. No events tonight. See, that's just what we were talking about, Ali. We fill our diaries, don't we? And I suppose that kind of condenses the year. Perhaps we shouldn't do that, but then if you didn't do that, you'd probably end up not going anywhere, because then we get a little bit complacent, and I think you get a little bit used to sitting and fiddling about and staying indoors, and especially with this weather. My goodness me. Good evening, Leanna. Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year to you, Jerry. How's it over there? Are you warm where you are, or is it? Is it Florida? I always forget where people are. I forget people. Let's face it, I'm not very good at everything really. Yes, so I think that's what we do. We fill our lives with these next events, and that's what we work towards. And I think that's what shortens our year. But if we didn't, you know. But this today, Adrienne and her lot went down to London. I think I told you that yesterday, and they happened upon a parade. I forget what the parade is called. If you're a Londoner, you perhaps know. It is cold in Glasgow, I would imagine. Oh, Pennsylvania. Oh, it's very cold, Jerry. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's a bit north, isn't it, Pennsylvania? I think, I don't know. What am I saying? How on earth do I know anything? Anyway, Adrienne and everybody, they bumped into a parade, and it was fabulous. And she sent me lots of little videos, lots of little short 5-second videos of the drummers playing and people marching. And there was a Native American on horseback, and it was completely decorated with stuff. And then there was the gosh, the name has escaped me. The people in London that dress up with all their finery, the coins and the feathers, and you know who I mean, perhaps. Anyway, they were there, and their horses were dressed up in all their coins and feathers and things like that. What are they called? Gosh. Shouldn't be allowed out. Mairead says, Happy New Year to you all. You're in Hamilton. Oh gosh, and it's freezing. Thank you, Leanna. Yeah, it's cold everywhere, isn't it? I was just watching the news and weather before I came up to my workroom, and there's this icy blast coming down. I think it's just about missing sunny Suffolk, but it's still jolly cold, isn't it? And I don't think I'll be taking my dad out for a few weeks. I'm going to keep him in, although I do wrap him up. But because he doesn't move very much, he does get cold. His hands are frozen, and I say to him, put your gloves on. Even if you're in the house, Dad, put your gloves on. Be warm. He's got a pair of Uggs. Ugg boots, and when he remembers, he does put them on because that keeps his toes cosy. But gosh, it's just hard work at the moment, isn't it? The Pearly Kings, of course. Sorry, Jill. Oh my gosh. Thank you for bailing me out. Right, we're on evening 7. Oh, before I forget, don't forget tomorrow the new pattern Isabella's going to be launched. Our lovely Kath is putting that on the website. Oh, it's got something else in there. That's going on the website tomorrow. So keep on the lookout for that, because that is a lovely pattern. And if you saw Nicola's version, oh my word, I loved it. I love it. And I always love everybody else's versions. Mary says she's flying home Sunday, so hopefully no snow. Now, the quilt, Mairead, the quilt behind me is the quilt I was talking about last night, where I had to ring the shop and ask them for these teal colours in graduated tones. And so up the top, right there, that is a really dark teal, and then right down the bottom, which is obviously down here, it's very, very light. So it goes from dark to light across, and I had to get all those tones right, and I think it worked out okay. And then the second one I made with Christmas fabrics, and I think I put it away. I didn't even have it out this year. I had it on the back of the sofa for about a day, but I do treasure that a little bit, so that might come out next year. Anyway, let's get on, because it's already 7:10. So let's get on. Lorna says, evening, missed a few nights, but we'll catch up during the year. Of course you will, Lorna. You know, all the videos are now on the playlist on YouTube, so we're not missing any of those. That's fine. Right, so let's have a quick look on the overhead camera. So this is the block we're doing tonight. It's called The Road to Heaven, which is a lovely term, isn't it? The Road to Heaven. And there's quite a bit of cutting out to do. So I've been extra careful today, and I've actually tried very, very hard to cut properly. I've said that, but there's no guarantees, is there? So I've chosen my 3 fabrics. So it is only 3. I always look at the colours. I always look at these colours. And I mean, obviously you can use 4, you could use 5, you can use as many as you like. But there is only 3 in there. And to save my brain from being fried, I will use the amount of colours that they've used, and then that way I'm sorted and I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think too hard. So this is the one we're making tonight. So as I say, I've been extra careful with my cutting, but there's no guarantees. Well, let's just lay it out, because I'll tell you for why. Because obviously these are going to be made in a certain order, and we can see that when we look at, sorry it's flashing, we can see that when we look at the card. I'll just pop that over there for a moment. So let's pop that on the desk. So you're a little bit zoomed in, but we'll do our best. I'll move that up a wee bit. Okay, so then next to these dark purples are the dark greens, which are my sort of mauve and, wow, what would you call it? So I suppose it's a red and reddy orangey colour. So those go in there. And don't be alarmed, there's no Y seams or anything nasty going on. It's actually quite a nice make, which we should be able to do in the hour. Okay. So that's that little line. Let me zoom out just a wee bit so you can see. Let's see if I can do it the right way. There we go. And I can move all that ish. Okay. There we are. That'll do. Otherwise go crazy trying to get it absolutely perfect. And then we've got a row of light greens, which is the lighter sort of. It's like a dirty mauve, really. And that goes like that. That goes like that. And these have all been best pressed, so they're a bit like cardboard, which is lovely because it makes it so much easier to stitch them and press them, to be honest. And it's good to press your fabric before you cut. And these go here and here. Let's move that in a bit. There we go. And then the remaining darker ones go here. I'll just check, make sure I'm not telling you a porky. So that's how the block looks before you stitch it. Obviously it changes quite considerably when you stitch it because it gets neater and smaller. So that doesn't look too bad. I quite like that, and it's quite different from the other blocks as well, where I've used that lovely bright green, which I'm going to probably use again tomorrow. It's more of a muted tones, but when we put them all together it'll work, won't it? Jerry says, I still need to quilt on my floating glass quilt for my daughter. It's taken me months to do. We'll upload a photo, Lizzie. Oh yes, please, Jerry. I do love to see the things being made. I really love that. It really gives me a lot of pleasure. Right, so we're going to make it up as per the instructions, obviously. So this is one little section, so we can stitch that first. Let me have a look on that bit there. That can go on there. There we go. And then we've got this little block here, and that can be stitched together. And then obviously we've got, let's say, probably easier to move this. So we've got this block. So I'm going to try really hard not to stitch the wrong thing together tonight. I'm going to really try and concentrate, which is a bit of a lost cause, isn't it, really? And the great thing about when you do this, if you can do it on a mat and then move that mat to one side, then everything will stay put. Or if you've got room on your desk, move it as it is over to one side, and like I say, you won't you won't get lost in the process, let's put it that way. But at the moment, all I'm going to do is make some little heaps. So I'll make some little heaps over here, and we might as well do that. When you look at the actual diagram here, let's put you on the side and you'll be able to see a little bit better. I'm a little bit of a different angle today, so I've got to get used to that. So this is the card, and you can see that it sort of does break down the top left-hand corner, but that's okay. If you you can start here. You don't have to follow this, but that's a great indication of what you stitch together. It really is. So that's what you need to follow, and you can see how they're put together really very easily. So that's what we're going to start with. So I'm going to start with top right. So I'll just move all of these over and hope that I put them back in the right place. There's no guarantees, but I'll do my best. Okay, so this is the one we're going to start with first. Okay, and let me have a look and see how they've done it. Oh, they've done it as that's separate. Stitch that onto that, and then those onto that. So let me say that in plain English. So those get stitched either side of that triangle there. This one gets stitched to there, although why not do that to that? Let me see what they say. I don't think they really say, but we could, let's do that. That to that, that to that, that to that, yeah? Excellent, and then that to that. Definitely, that is how we're going to do it, I think that. And so what you can do is you pin the first one, and obviously with that first one, you've just got to make sure when you look at it, you get your halfway points, which will really help. So let's just do that. So your halfway points will be there and there, and this one the same. And if you've best pressed them, it's even crispier. Sorry, I'm going to have to zoom in again, aren't I? So that's how you want it to be, and if you've got pinch points, then that's just going to flip over like that. You're still going to have overhang, of course you are. Just trying to see if that's even if I put that halfway mark there, that's not going to fit there. You know, when you doubt yourself and you think, I'm not sure about that now, but I'm pretty sure that we would definitely leave a quarter inch seam allowance here, but it doesn't look very much like a quarter inch seam allowance there. So we'll see how we go. We'll just bring the machine in and see how we go. Right, so we're going to go on the side camera, which, as I say, at a different angle today, so I might have to move the camera a little bit, maybe. We'll zoom out a wee bit. Let's see how we go. Right, let me zoom out. Might wriggle a little bit. Bear with. That's it. Not bad. Let's bring it in a little bit as well. I don't want to lose all the bits off me, because my edge of my table is literally here, so I think I'll be alright. I don't want to lose all my stuff. I do like having all my stuff here. Oops. Is that a pin? A bit of thread. That's okay then. Right, so let's stitch the first one and see how we get on. But as I say, I want that quarter inch there. I'm pretty sure. I can't think that would be any different. Okay. Right, so that's not a bad angle, is it, actually? Perhaps that's supposed to go right down to the point, I don't know. Anyway, so don't forget I'm doing a scant quarter inch. We mustn't forget that. I'm going to have a look at this before I carry on. Oh, that's okay actually, isn't it? Yeah, just interesting. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my iron on, not too hot. I'm going to iron on. This is the great thing about having Frankie on my table, is because I can use it as a little bit of an ironing board. And as long as you don't have your iron on too hot, I mean, obviously I've got a sort of a plasticky cover on here, so I can move the machine backwards and forwards. And hopefully I'm not going to melt. If I have it fairly low setting the iron, then I won't melt my my table. Right, so just offer that up so you know that's in the right position, and then we're just going to do the same again. You need to overhang by 1/4 inch, and one of the tips that I do is when I am putting these together, I try and get my two little dog, let me try and do this, my two dog ears the same height, the same pokey out bit is the same. There must be a technical term for that, which I haven't discovered. Let's take pokey out bit. Yeah. Okay. Happy with that. Oh, I know what I was going to do. I was going to put the square together, wasn't I? Nobody said, Lizzy, you haven't done the square. Actually, you might have done, and I haven't. Oh dear. What's that? Sophie, love watching your live stream so much, Lizzy. I got my sewing machine back out. Oh yes, indeedy. Oh, just looked on Amazon. New card deck coming out in March. Oh, Maggie. Wow, fantastic. Yeah. So ideally, we would have made that square up first, but you know, we're talking the perfect world here, and you know. So we're going to see how this looks now, because I'm not sure about this now. I think I should have done the square first. Followed my instinct the first time. So we'll see how it looks. We'll do the other corner. We'll do the other corner the correct way, I think. See, I'm not very happy about that. I mean, we got a 1/4 inch there. Do you see? And you see. My light's not so good here. Look, that's 1/4 inch there, but it's a bit dodged there. Look, a bit dodge. Look at that. So I think I would have preferred to have done the square. So with that in mind, and then of course I could have, yes, that's what I should have done, and then folded my triangle back to get, yeah, I've got it now. Okay, I've got it now. Right, so I mean, I haven't made this block before, so, you know, if you've made it before, then, yeah, your streets ahead. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to unpick this there, and I promised myself I wouldn't do this tonight. I promised myself, behave, do it properly, measure twice, cut once, behave yourself. But already I've failed. Already I've failed. Oh dear, oh dear. Yes, but what I'm going to do, yes, because this, yeah, I was thinking about that when I was putting these together just now, just literally while we were live. I thought, well, surely I put the straight edge of the triangle against the straight edge of the square, and I hadn't thought to myself, but you haven't made a square yet, Lizzy. That didn't cross my mind. So, but then again, I always think, well, it's not a bad thing to it's not making a mistake, it's experimenting with the design. That's all it is. It's not a mistake. And if you only do it once, don't you? Because the next, when we do the other corner, I shan't do it again, shall I? I shall make the square up. So it's never a mistake. No, no, no. And it's good to do things like that. There'll be people watching saying, oh, she doesn't know what the heck she's doing. Well, you're probably right. But I absolutely don't lose sleep over any of it. That's a fact. Right, let's just move this out of the way, and we'll give these a little iron. I've got some little bits still in there, and like I said to you, I think it was last night, to get all these little threads out, use a lint roller. Okay, use a lint roller, and that will really help get all those little threads out if you've had to unpick something. Okay, so it's good to sort of share. It's good to share. It's good to share. Right, so let's concentrate on what we're supposed to be doing. So when we look at the design, we've got the two triangles going like that. Let's just do it like that. And then we've got the dark one here and the light one here. Okay, and if I'd had more time I would have pulled all these threads off and made it tidy. But that's what we want to create, 100%. So let us put this square together. Then you'll see what I mean about the triangles being parallel to the square. Okay, it will make, if you haven't seen that before, that will make complete sense. And obviously it's not a mistake, Leanna. No, it's not a mistake. It's a variation of the design. And sometimes a variation of a design is actually a good thing. So again, don't forget you're doing a scant 1/4 inch. I'm sorry my head keeps getting in the way, but I thought I'd try this angle, so I thought that might be easier. And then you're still going to press your seams like you normally would. So we'll just move that so you can see it. So you're going to set the seams, push those stitches into your fabric. That way you get a far, far crisper seam, like that. And then we're going to put the other ones on, the dark ones. So when we look at the design, we want that one to go there. Okay, now this is where, can you see that the straight line, the 90-degree angle, then fits onto the square like that. So when we turn it over and we push that triangle into that corner, it's a perfect 90 degrees. That's what we want. That's what we were after before. And I kept thinking, surely I should have a 90-degree angle. Oh dear, lovely, 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 lovely. Yeah. So that's that one. So we've done one. Keep an eye on the design, make sure you've got all these in the right places. And then there's our second one, 90-degree angle again. So flip it over and then just offer that up to that corner, and all those straight edges of the triangle will match the straight edge of the square. Just don't forget what seam you're actually stitching. Keep them lined up. So did anybody get some really nice did anybody get any really nice sewing things for Christmas? Did you get a new quick unpick, for instance? Did somebody give you some gift vouchers for fabric or books or something like? In fact, did you get a book for Christmas? I always think a book for Christmas is the greatest thing ever, because you're educating yourself. And my John's son and daughter-in-law, they always ask me, what do I want for Christmas? And I always give them a link to Amazon where I can get a new book. So I've got a lovely new book about making quilts from scraps. So 90-degree, this time we're going to be absolutely on it. Trim your little dog ears if you can't easily see your 90-degree, okay? Trim those little dog ears off and that will help you. And then just a lovely scant 1/4 inch. I think tomorrow evening, oops, I'm going to have a coffee. Maria says, oh, you got a scan and cut, a vinyl kit, crochet book and 4 quilty card decks. Goodness gracious. Mairead got a 12-inch ruler and a beautiful fat quarters from a friend. Nicola said she got a lovely book and some money to treat herself. Sophie says she didn't get anything. Well, that's nice, isn't it? Anyway, we at last have created our corner. What a complete waste of time. I'm gonna ditch the seam ripper because we absolutely won't be needing it anymore this evening. I've warmed up now, we're on a roll. Do you know, it's a funny thing because my daughter Abigail has a page and it's all about food, and I mean her new book, which doesn't come out till next autumn, is already number 9 in the pre-order list of books. I can't tell you anything about it because obviously it's top secret. But anyway, she's got her Facebook group where she talks about the recipes and offers up recipes. You know, it's the Abigail the Grab Bag Girl. And it's a fantastic Facebook group. It really is. She's got over 35,000 people on it. It's absolutely fab. But the one thing that is a constant is everybody else telling Abigail what to do. So if, for instance, she uses a certain thing, then you can guarantee 2 or 3 dozen people will say, oh, we don't do it that way. We do it this way. This is the way you should do it. And or we don't put our vegetables in then. We always put our vegetables in then, you know, and all this, that and the other. And you think, for goodness sake, this is just how she does it. She doesn't need to be told how to do it. That's what she knows how to do it. She does it her way. It's a bit, you know, when the singer sings a song and they'll sing it the way they want to sing it, rather than perhaps how it was meant to be, perhaps, or a variation of, or something like that. And this happens all the time. And you think, why? Why do people think that they should tell other folk that they should have done this and they should have done that? Because no way is the absolute right way. For you, maybe. It's the right way for the person that's done it. It doesn't always have to be, you know, the one that's written down in a book somewhere. It's how you make it, isn't it? It's putting your slant on things. So, like I said, it's always about a design feature, making it a design feature. Right, I'm on a roll now, so I'm going to do the other side. So I'm going to put the square together first. You'll be very pleased to hear. I'm going to put the square together first. So what I'm doing is I'm going across to diagonally the opposite side. We've just done that one. We're now going to do that one, okay? So I'm going to put the square together first, like I should have done a gazillion years ago, and create our first square. And then, with any luck, I'm going to stitch it. I'll stitch all the other bits in the right place. But it's one thing. Oh, thank you very much, Anne. Yeah, thank you very much. So there's our little square. So people can be rude. I mean, you guys and my creative friends, absolutely, there is no way that any of them are rude. And they would never, none of us would criticise anybody else, because I have always said, do it the way you want to do it. Here's the idea of what we're doing, and you now have got to do it your way. Right, so that's the square that we've got to create, and now I'm looking at the diagram, and we've got to put this one on there. Okay, and once again, all you're doing is flipping that over, and it's this right angle. So you can cut off your dog ears, because that gives you obviously then a nice crisp right angle, and then just pop your corner in there, and that's the one. Let's try and remember which one we're stitching, for goodness sake, otherwise I'm going to get myself into bother again. So let's do it like that. Do it like that. That's what we want to create. So flip it over and remember that that's the seam we're going to stitch. And I must admit, when you're doing this yourself in your own home, you're in more control than I ever could be on a live, because I'm looking at a couple of dozen things all around me to make sure that I'm showing you what's the best way and things like that. So there is the first one, so we'll give that a little press. Looks so much better without so many threads hanging off of it. And then we get the other one, and that goes like that. There we go. So once again we just flip it over, and we see where that right angle is up here, up this corner here. Cut the dog ear off and just pop that corner onto the corner of your square, and then we're going to stitch down there. Just make sure all your layers are lined up as best you can. Don't forget that scant 1/4 inch, otherwise you could end up with a disaster. And as I said right at the beginning, which is absolutely correct, your two little sticky out point bits, your dog ears, should be identical. You shouldn't have a little one and a big one. They should be both exactly the same, and we can just snip those off. Keep it tidy if you can, and then that's our bit of a corner made. Well, things are improving, ladies. Things are improving. So there we are. So now all we've got to do is put the light corner piece on, and in the pattern it's the yellow, it's the big yellow triangle. So don't forget, you might want to find that centre again, that might help you. Give it a little finger press and pop that into the centre. You could pop a pin in because it's quite a long piece, you know, along here that's quite a long piece, and if you best press, that will really help keep that from stretching. Take the pin out almost straight away. Just make sure your fabrics are lined up as well. Just keep your eye on everything, make sure everything is sitting nicely at that point. Lovely. Oops, there we go. So there is our bottom left hand corner there, which is looking fab, isn't it? We'll just give that a little iron. Let me just get my Facebook page out, because I forgot to do that before. Because sometimes the comments on my software don't always work with the comments that I actually have on my screen. There we go. Here we go. Oh yeah, lovely. Yes, we are, Paula, you're quite right. We are a great group. I mean, you're on my page at the minute, but the Creative Friends group is absolutely super. It really is. Oh, it's such a lovely group. We're very, very lucky that everybody in the group is lovely and friendly. They encourage everybody. So it doesn't matter whether you're new to stitching or whether you've been stitching for a long time. Everybody offers advice. Friendly advice, not you should have done it this way or you should have done it that way. None of that. It's all very friendly and very supportive. We're very, very lucky, as you say. So let me just give that other one a little press. I do feel this patch here has gone through the walls a little bit. Right, so we're going to do the other corner. So we're going to create this corner here. Now all that means is that we're going to stitch the two triangles together here. Let me get that in so you can see it. Hold on. Let's tip it up a bit. There we go, over there. So we're going to stitch these two triangles together there, those two together there, and then we'll stitch the squares to them. Okay, so it sounds simple, but the best thing to do is to lay it out on your mat. So keep that there, keep it close to hand, and then we're going to lay out the square. Excellent. We'll lay out the other square. Excellent. That's this one and this one, the two A squares. Then we've got C and B and B and C. Okay, and that's how it should look. So we'll stitch them, and then we'll pop it all together, and then we just repeat it in the other corner. Okay, so it's quite a nice let me just move those. Quite a nice little block that we're going to put together now. So because it even doesn't matter, they're all blocks, even though it's a block within a block, isn't it? So even though I use that term block, you might think, well, it's just a bit of a block. Well, I suppose, but you could actually use just this piece, this square, if you like, that we're creating independently. You might think, well, that's enough, I can't stitch anymore. I'll just use this, and you put it on the front of a bag. So I'm just going to chain piece the other triangles together, and I'll do one corner at a time. So all I do is just pop, you can see I just pop that under there, so when the edge of my foot is lined up with the edge of my fabric, I can just continue sewing. And it's only a bit of a stitch that separates them, but then that's perfect. So we'll just snip them. So it's just snipping that little stitch there, and we'll give that a little press. I'll bring my other little mat here. Oops, there we go. I've got all sorts of different size mats which are perfect. Abigail once gave me a huge big wool pressing mat, and I just cut it up into bits. So it's really handy to have all these different sizes. So what I do, push that out to be honest, I'm not sure which way you would push these out. And again, this is something that if you make lots of these, you'll know which way to press your seams to help with when you're going to be quilting, because you don't want lots and lots of layers if you were quilting. Yeah. So have a look at your card again, because that's our top corner here, just there. And our dark colour goes like that. Okay, so the B is here and C is going out. Okay, just there. C being the yellow colour. Yeah. So we're just going to pop those together. So look for a right angle. You know, put the two right angles together. Make sure your 1/4 inch starts off correctly. And we'll chain piece these. So we look at the other one, we don't want to make a mistake. What's my Facebook group called again? It's called Creative Friends, and you have to be a member. It's a members only. It's a members only group, but it's ridiculously affordable, and we do so much. In 2026 we're going to be doing a monthly sewing journal, so we're going to be creating like a sort of a book, and we're going to be stitching that every month. So I'll do a Facebook Live showing offering suggestions of what we could do. I never tell people what to do, that's silly. But offer suggestions, give some advice, demonstrations of perhaps some techniques or something like that. And we're also doing techniques, and we're using applique on my half zip pouch, which is one of my patterns. Which reminds me, all you creative friends, if you're watching, for you only, you'll get the half zip pouch pattern free. Those of you that have bought it in the last couple of months since I announced what we're doing this year, obviously I'll refund you, so you don't have to worry about that. But as it's a group sort of challenge, it would be foolish of me to charge you. That would be a little bit naughty. So there's one half, there's the other half. There you go. That's how it looks. So we've just got to put the two together. Just make sure that your seams are going to be nesting, which they will be. I can feel where the seams are. So make sure that that's pushed out that way, that's pushed out that way, and then they'll create a lovely neat seam. So let's do that. Yes, the subscription, Sophie, is on my website if you're interested. And then we've got our lovely Kath, who'll probably be doing some lives as well. We haven't talked about it yet, so we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. And then, yeah, we do lots of things, but I don't inundate you with stuff, I don't think. You get discounts on patterns if you want. You'll get freebies as well. In the files in the group there are freebie patterns, which is lovely. Yes, oh, we love a pouch and a plique. Any excuse to do some blanket stitch. Absolutely, absolutely. So there's our first one done. I just need to give that a press. I'll do that in a second. So let's do the other one. So it's very similar, obviously, to the one before. So the 2 squares. And then we want our bees, which are the darker colour. In this pattern, in this, it's the darker green, sorry, it's the lighter green. So it's, we're doing this one, yeah, this one here. So the bees are the sort of lighter green, and then the C's are the yellows. Okay, so let's just get those in place. And then that's going to be the square, and obviously that's going to be the square. Okay, so we'll do those first. Perhaps what I need to do is, before I do a live, is to warm up. Yeah, it's a funny thing. You do have to warm up with things like this, and all that means is do some stitching and put your brain into gear. Yeah. Anyway, matters not. Yeah. So it's yeah, the Creative Friends group is absolutely lovely. It really is. I couldn't wish for a lovelier set of people to spend my time with. I say good morning to everybody in the morning, and I pretty much nearly always comment on things. Some things I do miss. I do miss. You know, I miss seeing things. Other times I see them and hopefully have some input into them and just be supportive. But everybody in the group is supportive, so it's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Let's just press that to the other side there. Okay, just push those corners out. Just remember that we don't want any pleats or anything going on there. And yeah, lovely. Oh, Juliet, thank you so much. Juliet says that the Creative Friends group is the best. I think we're very lucky, actually, don't you? So make your design back up again. That way you won't forget what you're doing. Just keep repeating it, because if you don't, you'll do what I did before. Right, so we'll stitch those together. So the 2 top squares, and like I say, you can trim off these little triangles if you don't. If they sometimes they can distract you. Yeah, they can distract you. So let's get the points matching. And like I said yesterday, the more seams you have to stitch, the more likely that your block wouldn't be 12.5 inches. So this is why I always say use a scant 1/4 inch if you can. There's times when I forget and I don't, and you know the consequences are it's not quite as it should be. But then if all of your blocks are 12.25, then so be it. So be it. Right, so there's the, and I will give that a little press. There's the bottom section. Put that there. That's the top section. Yeah, we're just going to join those together, but I'll just give that a little press. It's really worth it. I do see an awful lot of people putting a block together, and it hasn't seen an iron at all, and it really makes a difference with quilting. The accuracy, I suppose, yeah, it does really make a difference. So it's worth getting your iron out and giving everything a really good iron before you move on to the next stage. Right, let's get that corner in place. See how I cut the little triangle off, the dog ear off, just to help me line that up. There we go. It's lovely. We have to save up. It's £2.50 a month, Sophie. That isn't as much as you'd pay for a coffee in Costa. In fact, in my local garden centre, the coffees are £3.70. So it's only £2.50 a month. Sorry, I'm assuming that isn't a lot to you, so I shouldn't assume. Right, so you can open those seams up, or you can just push to one of the sides. Dawn says she would leave just to join up again. How funny. How funny. How lovely as well. Yeah. Yeah, it only costs £2.50. It used to cost $6.99 when we had the Platinum group, because I did a huge amount in the Platinum group, and I really sort of ran out of steam. I really sort of did too much, basically. So I had to cut it back, and we created the Creative Friends. I suppose it might even be 2 years old, is it? Somebody will be able to tell me. Nicola will. And that's worked out very well, and I positioned it at £2.50 because I thought everybody would be able to afford that. I know I'm wrong with that. I know I'm wrong with that. Right, so now we can lay these out and get these lined up. So just keep checking everything, because if you don't, you might, you know, get a little bit carried away. So the big triangles, as you know, go into the outside corners. So there we are, nearly there. So now we're going to stitch these together, and then stitch those together, and then we'll stitch right across the middle. Okay, so while they're sat there nicely, I'm going to line those up and pop a pin. And pin can go anywhere. It's just a visual to remind me of where I'm stitching. Okay, so I know I'm stitching down there, and I know I'm stitching down there. It's always handy to do that. Right, so let's get these stitched. Thank you, Lynn. It's very kind of you to say that. Oh, and I'm going to chop these off, just so I've got my corner. I can line my corner up, you see. We know that's going to fit there, so as long as that corner's lined up, we should be okay. Take the pin out, and then I'm looking for that bottom corner, get that neatened together, and then all I'm going to do is stitch that down there. And you know, it really is about the journey of stitching, and just taking some time out for yourself, because I would imagine that some of you that have been sewing this week with me, you've probably really enjoyed it because you've had time out for yourself, and sometimes it's kind of like not being forced into it, because I would never do that, but it's like a commitment that you've made to be with me every night, and try to make that block or the block keeper, and it's probably been really good for you. You probably didn't realise how much you'd missed having that sort of hour to yourself. There we go, that's the bottom one. So now it's a case of putting them together. So let's just give that an iron. So you all have seen me do this every evening. In fact, let me open that seam up. I think that would be much better. It's every time I've done a little bit of stitching, I have ironed, and when we come to the end, I press. And pressing means with a damp cloth or some steam, some best press, because as long as you're, and just be careful that you don't stretch anything out of place. Be easy to do when you're pressing, because it's very difficult to undo something that's been pressed. When I say undo, I mean if you've got a crease somewhere by mistake, it's quite difficult to get that crease out if you've steamed it. So there's the two halves, okay? So now we're just going to pop those together. Now obviously you can pin at crucial places. So the middle is the obvious first place. So you can pop a pin in there, and be careful because your seams are quite vulnerable now, and you can also pop a pin where those seams are, and just look out for your 1/4 inch mark, So you're going just this side of where your seams meet, and that should give you a fairly decent point. And I've covered this before, if you want to get it absolutely perfect as best you can, then you're going to pop a pin through the middle, the sort of right where the seams meet, and push it through so they both meet perfectly lined up. That's not to say it'll stay like that. These things have a habit of moving. So I sometimes say a little dob of glue. There's no harm in that. It's a modern approach to sewing now, that we can use glue. Nobody's going to tell you off. You're not at school. A little bit of quilter's tape. I can recommend that. So all of these things are there. These tools are there for you to use. And the other thing you can use, which I really advocate, is a pokey tool. If you've got a decent pokey tool, because you can get your pokey tool right under the needle, almost, not quite, to help you, okay? And you can get all these really lined up as best you can. There we go. And just bring your corner down. There we go. There we go. So that's it done. That's it done. All completed. That's great, doesn't it? Every time I open it up and think, oh yes, it's done, I think, have I got a triangle upside down? Or oh dear me. So that just needs a press now. So let's just, oops, my mouse has switched itself off. It's a silly mouse. I'm going to get another one. It's just crazy. So you can see you've got your open seam there, which is great. This, I think, could be an open seam as well, only because you've got all of these joins here, and it just means that there's an awful lot of fabric in one place. So it is better to open your seam there. Some people agree with that, some people disagree, but there we are. That's what I say to Abby about her cooking, is if she wants to do it that way, that's fine by me, but you don't have to tell people, do you? There's some really odd people out there. She doesn't mind. She doesn't faze her. She, you know, it doesn't affect her at all. But gosh, it's relentless. Right, so there we are. And what I'll do in the morning is give that a press with some best press, and get that looking really crispy. And then I'll get my 12.5-inch ruler and I'll square it up. Okay, this is a 12-inch mat, and you can see I'm covering it quite easily. Yes, I'll square it up in the morning, and then that is block 7 done, which is Road to Heaven. It's quite different, isn't it, from the other ones? If we get the other ones in, this is where using the same fabrics, not the same fabrics, really stands out. Completely different. Got the blues. That's very similar, isn't it? Actually, yes, these are made up differently. Yeah, those are, yeah, and that one there. So when you look, it's quite different to all of them, isn't it? But once they're put together, they'll all blend into one. Look, yeah, because obviously we've used the colours. In fact, I must use that green again. I'll do that tomorrow. So yeah, so this one will get a press, and we'll pop it into the bookkeeper tomorrow night. And so your pattern will be available once again tomorrow morning around about 10ish. It's actually when I've had my breakfast and then I remember, oh, better do the pattern. So it'll be on the website around about 10ish. Sometimes it's early. I don't think I've ever been late yet, but you never know. I might forget. Thank you very much for joining me again. Apologies for my false start. Like I say, I think I need to do a half an hour stitching before I come live to air, and then I'll be warmed up. But we got there in the end, which is what it's all about. It's about the journey. Right, I shall leave you to your evening. Don't forget that I was thinking about when you're doing the smaller ones. What was that? The drawback for me doing 6-inch. Oh, I didn't quite see that. Are they a bit small? Are they a bit small at 6-inch? Because you've got the blocks, haven't you? They're a bit fiddly. Yeah. Just take your time. Just take your time. Pin well, that sort of thing. Yeah, but they are quite. When you think of the amount of detail in that, and that being a 6-inch square, yep. Good luck, Di. Good luck. Right, yes, I'll leave you to it. We're hoping to watch The Night Manager at 9 o'clock. I really look forward to 10 years. That's 10 years the last time The Night Manager was on. So we'll see what it's like. At last, a decent programme. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'll see you all again tomorrow night at 7, and we'll be on day 8. Night, night, everybody.